Hey there.
Hey, how's it going, Ramon?
Sorry, I think I had my headphones turned off. Hello. Hey, Taylor.
Howdy. How's everyone in the audience doing today?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for your patience as we got started. Just having some getting ready time, and here we are for another Open Source Thursdays. Hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday, and yeah, I'm so excited that we got a little bit of more time today. Taylor, thank you so much for joining in half an hour early as we now kind of try to expand into doing a little more streaming time every week.
No, I
Um,
love it. This is one of my favorite parts of the week. I think our director Tara was like, Taylor, are you sure you have extra time for that half hour? I'm like, it keeps me going. I do lots of tech meetings and supporting the tech team, but this is the coding time I get. So great excuse to do a little bit more. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said early, though. I'm back in the US now after 2.5 years in Serbia, but still need to support our US team. So I've been getting up really early and still adjusting to the time zones a little bit.
yeah, I'll bet. Because let me see if you don't mind my asking. You're in the Eastern time zone,
Central. So I am in
Central.
Gulfport, Mississippi right now. So
So that's I don't actually know what Central is compared to Europe.
uh,
Uh,
it's a 7 hour time difference.
7 hour difference. So if here, so it's 10 in the morning for you.
Yep, 10:30.
Nice, nice, nice. And Noreen writes, "Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Doing great for
good to
another,
see you.
excited for another episode. Good to see you, Noreen. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, let's start out as we always do. Maybe could you give us perhaps a little bit of an update of what Distribute 8 has been up to?
Oh, there's so much that might take all the extra half hour time. I think what
Maybe a
we're
greatest hits.
yeah, greatest hits. There's a 100,000 truck driver shortage in the UK right now due to Brexit.
Yeah,
I'm sure maybe some folks have seen the empty grocery store or pharmacy shelves on Twitter.
yeah.
And so we've been navigating that because we ship a ton of aid from the UK, even after Brexit, once we figured out how to continue to export aid there. Fortunately, we've been able to find some trucking providers that were able to get us capacity. So we've recently sent 3 full trucks of aid to our partners in the Netherlands, who will process it there and include that on their aid shipments across Europe and maybe to Lebanon. And we're staging aid from 2 different groups in the UK to ship to Lebanon as well. So that's what's
Wow.
going on in the UK. In Germany, some very exciting setup. The big masks project we've been working on. I think we ended up accepting 2 million masks. It wasn't all of them, but it was as much as we
Wow.
could confidently place. And already we're planning on 800,000 of those going to America. No, not America. Anera
Oh,
in Lebanon. So they have a network of 400 different hospitals, mobile clinics, that operate throughout the country that will be distributing these masks. So first step, we have to get them out of the donor warehouse and into a warehouse that we've contracted, and then we can load them up on a shipping container. The other 1.2 million masks we'll hold on to for the next 6 months and work with grassroots to help them fundraise to cover the shipping costs. And would love to get those going out across Europe, sending more to Lebanon, and supporting people right back here in the US.
that's amazing, Taylor. You weren't kidding when you said that you had a lot going on. This is quite impressive, I have to say.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and for getting that grassroots funding done, is it the same through Open Collective as always, which I will link here right away.
Open Collective is really helpful for us at Distribute Aid because we're able to sustainably cover our shipping and focus on saving our partners money, but they do pay for the stuff that they want to ship. With Open Collective, that supports our core team. So that funds the volunteer house for our full-time volunteers out in Belgrade and cost of living stipends, as well as additional administrative expenses that come up. And that is the hardest type of funding that we're able to get. So really appreciate anyone who wants to donate. Or now that I'm in the States, I'm still working with folks in the EU. If you want to contribute code, just hit us up, get a pull request going. Would be happy to sit down with you and use CodeC maps and recordings to get you up to speed and get you contributing.
Brilliant. No, thank you. And I'm going to leave this. Hey, Grayson, good to see you. Yeah, put that little there. Hey. Let's speaking of open source development, shall we take a look at what we're doing this week? Because we've got quite a show for you today, folks. We're going to be doing some more styling from CSS with Tailwind from Figma Designs. And we're going to be joined in about 20 minutes by Phuong-An from Distribute.
Mm-hmm.
And and oh, sorry, I hope I pronounced her name right.
No, I think it blipped out for me for a second.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, so we're going to be joined by her, and she's going to show us a little bit about how she does some of this talk a little bit about open source UX design, as well as walk us a little bit through Figma designs and how to adapt those to the website itself.
Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting using Figma. So just to kind of lay out the stack here, with Figma, designers can go in and create designs, but as developers, we can inspect the CSS and actually get the styles we need. Now we're using Tailwind on the front end, and so they have all these utility classes. What we're going to want to do is look at the styles in Figma and then find the right Tailwind classes to apply to style our components. Yeah. So a little bit less data work today, more setting up these components and getting the styles right, maybe with some filler content, I think, for that landing page.
Brilliant. So, Taylor, question for you. Would you like to drive, or shall I go ahead? I've got a Git pod running here, so I can get us up and running right away, however you prefer.
I have the Git pod running here. Maybe, do you want to start driving and we can switch off a bit here? Yeah,
sure.
We've got the extra time, so maybe we could go a bit back and forth with the Git pod. It's easy. We can just jump into the same machine, right?
That's brilliant. Thank you. I'll do that right away then. I'll go ahead and share my screen. So, window, symbol browser. Here we go. Folks, please let me know if this text size is too small. I'm going to bump it up just a touch. It's probably a bit overkill. Let's have a look. No, I think that looks good. Yeah, let's get started then. So what we've got here is the app running on our machine on GitHub, on Gitpod. And that means that we are able to access the code and work on it collaboratively, as well as I've got the server running here, and we can open that up in a new tab with an 8000 prefix. Let me just make sure I got that right. So there's our website, and what we're going to be working on today is some Figma designs. Before I do that, Taylor, did we need to, because last time we met, we were working on that pull request.
Mm-hmm.
Did we need to merge that in?
I think I can merge it right now. I know that Matthew took our feedback and was able to use the CodeC tools here, just like here. And so let's take a look here. I think he's updated it. I think I'm fine to merge it in right now, and then we can create a new branch off of Saga there if you want.
Sounds good. Actually, I think because we've got a branch running for our pull request.
Oh, do you want to run that through CodeC and just wrap it up then?
Sounds good. Please. So, how shall I best go about this?
I think if we pull his latest changes, and there's a few, let me take a look at specifically what he's done since our last conversation.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we missed last week.
Last week, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the branch here. I'm just gonna git checkout and the name of the branch. Yeah, nice. So now we're on Matthew's branch. I don't know if we'll need to rerun yarn. Let's have a look. Rebuilding. Oh, looks like we got some errors. Can't resolve React multi-carousel. Yeah. So I checked out his branch where he's declared some new yarn packages. So
Okay.
I'll need to yarn install real quick. Sorry to take us away from the path of doing the styling. Just want to make sure that we don't step on Matthew's toes in terms of the work we're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about that collaboration, right?
Totally. Cool. So that's done. I can run yarn dev again. And that should get us back on track there. By the way, out of curiosity, Taylor, is Contentful only queried on build when I first start up the server?
Yeah. As a static site generator, it pulls everything when you start up the server to build the Gatsby site. It's not, I don't think, hooked into the rebuilding. So if we make adjustments in Contentful, then we have to restart the server.
Gotcha.
What's cool is once it's deployed, it'll hook into Netlify and automatically trigger a full rebuild, including all of the tests and checks and things like that. So it's pretty smooth from a deployment standpoint, but on dev, if you want the latest data, you do need to rebuild the server yourself.
Gotcha. Oh, that's interesting. So that's how it works. So I think it's ready. I refresh this now. We're back in business. Right. So we wanted to run, do a CodeC recording. Is that correct?
Yep. Just take a look at his latest stuff, make sure it makes sense to us, and then we can start to build off of it.
Great. And what we can do is take a look at the map from the CodeC map and use that to determine which pages we should be looking at and recording. So for example, we've got the main page and the shipment page.
Right. Shipment, not shipments. So I think if we go to...
Oh, an individual shipment. That's
right.
right.
Well, we ran into that last time where I got a bit confused. So I was just calling a reminder mostly to myself for that.
I gotcha. So we'll make one for the main page and one for the shipment page. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. Now, I don't think we'll see any execution through CodeC on the main page because he's stubbed out additional sections.
That's right.
There, so that those are set up, but those aren't set up in Contentful, and the actual components aren't created. So that was more of like, these components need to be created. That might be one area that we can dive in and create one of those components and style it with the designs on Figma and build off of his work. But I think it's really that shipment page with the carousel. That's going to be what we can see with CodeC right now. Perfect.
Cool. So we'll go to the shipment page then. Now, if I remember correctly, that's /shipment.
I think if we do shipments with an S and then click on one of them, we'll get to the page with the carousel.
Perfect. So what I can do in theory is click on the recording now and then click on one of the shipments. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds great.
So I'm going to start a CodeC recording right away.
I kind of like that approach because that mimics what your user would be doing rather than going to the specific shipment page and refreshing. You're capturing more of that user journey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. So that's done. And now I'm going to stop the recording. And now we're going to get that generated for us. We're joined by Shania from CodeC now.
What up?
Yeah, so we've got our shipment page template. Yeah.
I love how it highlights. You can click on the tag type, the link there, right? The A.
Yeah.
And also the 3 mouse events. I'm actually curious if we go expand that. Okay, so it's a mouse down and a mouse up, which registers as a click as well.
Yep. I don't see the third one though. That's
Yeah.
Wonder why it says 3.
Feature request. It's
Feature request.
3 events there, but I think it's just registering the down and the up and not the summary event of the click.
Ah, that could be it. Yeah, I'm just gonna make some space here. Cool.
Oh, it's cool. It shows you the positions too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super handy. So it's one of my favorite things that got added to recordings. And we got some renders. Oh wow, you can even highlight them. That's so cool. All right, let's take a look at what took place here. So we rendered our shipment page template with some data from the shipments themselves. From the shipment itself. We applied our simple layout and then our image carousel, where we can even see what those carousel images are and where they come from, which is super cool.
Exactly. That made it really obvious. We're kind of like, we haven't seen these photos before. What's going on? And the data is right there. It's some sample data until we get it hooked up to Contentful.
Exactly. We've got our React elements and then rendering our carousel images. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and name this DA landing. We'll call this open shipment page.
And the pull request number is 28.
Thank you.
Maybe PR 28. Yep, that's great.
Perfect. So we'll set this to be public so that folks can see it. And we can go ahead and I'll go ahead and add that if that's fine.
Yep, totally.
CodeC recording for opening the shipment page. There we go.
Nice. It looks like it had everything we expected there. So I just want to check in on the comments that we left. It looks like Matthew has addressed them all. They're showing up as outdated on GitHub.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we can just take a look since everything else seemed to work fine on CodeC and we looked at his code specifically last time. Let's just double check those changes and then we can get it merged in.
Cool.
Cool.
So we added multi-carousel, social icons, these image components that we took a look at last time. Let's see what else we got. There's our images from last week. Last week, I say 2 weeks ago. Please let me know if I'm going too fast, by the way. Tim goes for chat. Image carousel. A yarn lock diff. So packages got updated. That's about it. I'd say this looks good to go.
Yep. I'm just looking at the specific commits, and it seems like he's added some comments that we requested. And I think that's fine. There's a to-do in there. The one thing was the changing the image tag on carousel image to a Gatsby image. Now that was wrapped in a div, and he's removed that wrapper div because it was necessary. So it's just returning the image straight up right now, and I think that's good for now. We can replace it with a Gatsby image later on.
Perfect.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that feedback we gave him. Nice.
No.
Cool. So I think you'll have to do your special container magic.
Yeah.
To merge.
All good. Okay. All right. Use your administrator privileges to merge without requiring the build run and stuff. Um,
A little bit of cheating.
a little bit. We're grassroots. We get the job done.
And for our other and formatting.
Okay. So I just squashed and merged it. So now we should be able to go to Saga.
I'm going to go back to Gitpod. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. And Matthew also created issues for the different components. So that might be a good starting point for us.
Brilliant. Let's have a look. I just did a poll and you said issues. Oh, brilliant. Does any one of them stand out to you as something good for starting out?
Looking at it, maybe that mission banner, because
Nice.
that's going to be something that shows up on the homepage as well. That's kind of a consistent page banner that we're trying to display across the board. So I think he's been focusing on the shipment pages, but I'm trying to find something that we can apply elsewhere as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, sounds good. And we've got a starting CodeC point here. Let's have a look. Pretty cool that. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think it might be private.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to just...
I think they're all private. I can message Matthew.
Oh,
real quick
cool.
on Slack, yeah.
I mean, we can also write it here, but I don't want to put it on the public stage for him.
No, it's all good. I'll ping him after the chat. We'll get that updated. And feature request for the CodeC team. We are a very open organization. I would just love it if anything related to a distribute aid repository, that we've set up is public by default. So we don't have to take extra steps. And hey, maybe do that for your corporate clients as well, like transparency, open source code, like default to that and make them click it to private instead of us clicking to public.
I like that. That makes that makes perfect sense. And perhaps having a toggle. Yeah. Noted.
Yeah, like repo level control, maybe.
Cool. No, I like it. Thank you. Thanks for the feedback. Cool. So we've got this mission banner component. Shall we take a look at Figma to see what we expect that to look like? Or maybe, may I go ahead and assign myself?
Yeah, go for it.
And I'll leave a comment here. Taylor and I go ahead and start with this. Go ahead and comment that.
Yep, sounds great.
Perfect. So here's our Figma of our designs for distribute aid, which are, talk it over with audio. Nope, we're good. So which one looks like, I guess it's our landing page, right? This one here.
Mm-hmm. So I think that there's the simplified header that we can work on. I over-engineered it. I was like, let's give operations control of what shows up on the main menu and just really make it extra customizable. I was very excited about contextual. And I realize now that maybe for version 1.0, we can just hard code a header. There's not that many pages, right? So that might be something we could work on today, is just commenting out the dynamic header portion and adding a hard-coded version in there, doing some styling. Then there's this section below that.
Down here, ship your aid?
I think it's the one right above it. That's that sort of page banner style. So,
this one here.
Exactly. And if you scroll to your right, you'll see that on the About Us page as well. So
this one here.
Yep, kind of a banner image with text, with an image, and with these social icons that should be consistent across the pages.
Got it. Okay, no, that sounds great. So what we're going to be doing is having essentially, and please correct me if I'm wrong, a reusable component for this blue section here. Is that correct?
Yep. And I think if we focus on hard coding it at first, then we can extrapolate maybe next week from that hard coded content to a contentful implementation of it. It seems like there's some variability. The placement, the content type is consistent: image, text, social icons. But I think I saw on the main page, the image and the text were flipped. And so that's something that'll need a little bit of setup in Contentful. And let's get it going on the front end first, and then work our way backwards.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. Well then, let's do that. So let's get ourselves comfortable in the code. Because if I remember correctly, we have a oh, hello there. Who's this?
That is Vasco, family Portuguese water dog. Hey, Vasco, do you want to say hi to the internet?
Hey, Vasco. Oh.
Look down here. Oh, okay. He's gone to dad.
Love it. Yeah. Sorry, I got very, very I got super distracted. Let's have a look at our components. Now, if I remember correctly, let me take another look. Mission banner component. These were pre-created already.
I think
is that right?
In the sections, or at least there was a switch for them. Yeah. So we don't necessarily have that component page, but we do have the way to switch it in through that section. So what happens here is we have different section types set up in Contentful. Anyone can choose what sort of content section they want to apply, and then it'll use this case switch statement to insert the right section and hook the data up dynamically and everything. What I would recommend right now is we bypass this and we just go straight to the home page. We could even maybe comment out because there's kind of some cruft of content there, and just focus on getting it right on the front end. And then we can work our way backwards and kind of tackle this thing from both ends over 2 sessions.
Sounds good.
Cool.
So we've got this here. Default layer. Now you said that, yeah, here's the sections. I see. And this is what we'll be bypassing.
Exactly. So that's what's showing up with the image and the Prezi embed and some text and stuff when we go to that home page.
Have a look.
There we go. And I think what we want to do here is just comment that out on the main page and just focus on building in, the setup here. So create a component for that page banner, link the component directly in here, and then get the styles down. That would be great progress for today. Next time, we can have that set up on Contentful with content, and then we can move that component rather than linking it directly from the main page. We can move it to that case switch statement and have it dynamically be pulled in.
Sounds great. Yeah, got it. So we'll start with commenting this out here.
Yep, I think that's the way to go. Otherwise, we're just going to have to deal with all that other unstyled kind of test content.
Gotcha. Cool. So that's done. And let's refresh here. And now we've got just the header and the footer. Perfect. Perfect. Cool. So now we can start sort of from scratch designing this section. And this is a section. Yeah, I'll go ahead and and drive. So Taylor, please feel free to navigate for me. And folks in the chat, if you want to contribute as well, please, this is an ensemble environment. We are super happy to have you join in.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's grassroots, right? It's everyone coming together, putting their best ideas forward. And that's true when we're organizing shipments or with our partners on the grounds, doing distributions, or right here online.
Totally.
Yeah, I think we should start off here. This is the, just opened, one sec. The mission banner. So we can go ahead and create a new banner component.
Cool.
I'm not sure if there are going to be different types of banners. So this is a content section. Do you think it makes more sense to create a banners folder and put our banner components in there? Or should we have this as a type of content section?
That's a good question. Let's have a look at what's in content, just to give me an idea. Markdown, photo, what's Prezi, sorry? Is that like a map?
That embed. We use that to generate reports and stuff for us.
Gotcha.
And so it seems like that's where all of these content sections are living. I think it makes sense to make it in there. And then if that gets too busy, we can refactor that out and kind of place it. You know, this is media, this is images, this is text. These are banners.
Makes perfect sense. So I'll go ahead and create a file in here. And we'll call this banner. Fair?
Yeah, I would call it page banner, I think, specifically. Or this is kind of the header banner for the page.
Gotcha.
One of the two, yeah.
Cool. So here we are.
Cool.
And let's have...
Oh, go for it.
No, please. You're navigating, sorry.
I was just thinking before Phuong-An joins, maybe we should get the kind of boilerplate set up. So looking at, say, the Markdown page banner here.
This one here.
Yeah, just the section, you know, kind of, can we get hello world on the screen, and then we can dive into styling it and stuff. So
perfect.
If we get that to the Git pod, and there should be a content Markdown right there.
Yeah.
There we go. Grab the function component. We're not necessarily going to need the contentful Markdown yet, but that might be helpful for the text portion later on once we do hook it up to contentful. So we can copy that and just comment it out and then bring that in once we have this hooked up to contentful.
I guess we don't need the content for now.
No, we don't. That might be a good halfway step, depending on how far we get today. We could pass the content in through React props to kind of mimic that interface. But for now, probably just hard code this up here and then work our way towards the other end of the stack.
Sounds good.
Cool.
And we'll call this a page banner, which will export default.
So we may still want a props interface, but an empty one.
Can it be empty?
I think so.
Cool. That looks good. And we can leave this empty for now. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Perfect.
And
we
let's
don't
just
need to
turn a paragraph with hello world. I don't think we need the rest of that right now.
Dangerously set inner HTML. Is that a thing?
I mean, Danger is my middle name now. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to quit my day job for the stand-up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think that's for Markdown specifically because the kind of the Markdown tooling renders the Markdown as HTML. And so we need to give it explicit permission for React to say this is safe HTML. There's no cross-site scripting, for example.
Gotcha.
Usually we'll kind of convert that to HTML special characters, right? So like they, open or close brackets to those and open or and hex code or something like that. in order to prevent cross-site scripting and other sorts of malicious code injection.
Gotcha. Oh, that's why. Yeah. I had considered, I had wondered like how we handle that, but that makes perfect sense. Cool. So we've got here our page banner, which no matter what we pass to it as a prop, will always render a hello world. So now what we got to do, because if I go and refresh now, of course, we haven't actually put this banner in there.
So maybe on the main page, we should import the banner and then render it.
Page banner. Oh, gosh, this always surprises me so much. The fact that we can just sort of content. Amazing.
Nice. Cool.
And
then let's scroll down to that bit we commented out and just plop it in above the header there.
Above the header.
Oh, I'm sorry, below the header, above the commented bit.
Oops. And this is called a page banner. There we go.
Nice.
So if we go and refresh now, we should see a hello world. And there it is.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what would be the next step? Oh, maybe committing, huh?
Yeah, this is a good check-in point. We can talk about how we kind of set up the template here, and that way, if we need to go back to this point, or if people want to copy this for other things, then they'll be able to access this code. It seems like a good commit point.
Perfect. Cool. So let's do a git status, because I think we're still on Saga, so we'll need to check out a new branch. And how do you feel about naming this after the, let's call it feature, and then the number of the, not the pull request, but the issue? So 33.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Mission banner component. So now we're on that new branch. We'll do another git status, and we'll just add what we have and commit it right away. And we will call this feature add and rollout page banner. Let's call it page banner component with hard-coded content. What do you think, Taylor?
I think that's great. If you could actually give me 1 second, I'm going to move locations. I realized I set up shop right by the kitchen here, and
no stress whatsoever. If it's fine with you, Taylor, I'll keep going a little bit.
Keep it rolling. It'll literally take me 1 minute.
All right.
So yeah, I'll just mute myself and hit my camera, and then reappear in a magical new place.
Sounds good. I'll commit in the meantime.
Cool. Sounds great.
All right. See you in a bit. Yeah. So we've written our commit message. Now I'm going to close this, and that should finish the commit. So that's done. And I'm going to push that new branch online. So we're going to git push origin feature 33 mission banner component. Awesome. And if I go back to GitHub, we should see that we've got a new branch going.
New branch, new location.
Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, so we're doing this. We've got our new branch ready. So let's go back to Gitpod. I'm just gonna hide our things for now. So there's our new branch. There's our new component. So now the question is, do we want to start styling, or do we want to flesh out its content first? What do you think?
I always like to go content first. In this case, we could take a look at the background, maybe kind of set that up and then put the content in. So we could do it in layers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do we have? We have that kind of gray backgrounds. We got some padding there, it looks like.
Yeah.
Spacing between elements. So let's take a look at what those styles look like, and then let's try to match them to Tailwind and just set that up as a full width banner here.
That sounds fantastic. And one thing I'm going to do, because I realize this is kind of small here, sorry, folks, I'm just going to make Figma a little larger. Okay. So we've got here our banner. So I'm just going to, correct me if I'm wrong, all I got to do is click on it. And that's going to give me already some styles here.
Mm-hmm. Now, some of it is hard coded, like the position absolute. I'm not sure we want to make that absolute, or the width and height. That's kind of based on the dimensions that it was designed to. But we have that specific background color. And we can get relative positioning between elements, looking at, how far apart they are. Then, okay, yeah. So let's see. It's interesting. What's the useful bit with Figma here? And then what are the bits we're going to have to adapt to a multi-screen environment, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, sounds good. So I guess starting off, we've got our background color. That's definitely worth starting with. So this is F3, F4, F6. But these are colors defined in our Tailwind setup. Is that right?
Let me double check that. If they're not, we can find something that's close to it that's in our, right? I think they should be. All those colors look like DA colors here.
Cool. I mean, the other thing is that the width seems to be 1440 pixels, which, correct me if I'm wrong, would probably be the entire width, the full width.
Yeah, that seems to be a full, laptop or desktop size there. Cool. And so that might be a good max width to put on it, right?
Mm-hmm. So, and that we would go back to our page banner and start declaring some styles.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll need this to be a wrapping div. Correct me if I'm wrong, because we'll want to have some padding and all of that to encapsulate around the P element.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I think we should have kind of a div for that background layer, and then we can insert specific content types into it.
Perfect.
We might want to make that wrapping div a flexbox as well. I like using flexbox.
Love flexbox.
It seems a lot easier than trying to figure out pixel values, especially since this is dynamic content. There'll be different types of content on the banner. And so we can just, have kind of a side, we can have different styles mapped to what we need it to. The image could be 1/3, the social media could be 1/6, and the text area takes up the rest of the space or something.
Makes sense. So we will add some classes here. Class name. This is React. Cool. So the first thing would be I gotta bring up my Tailwind documentation here.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here too. So we have some solid grays that come out of the box by default. Just eyeballing this one, what you said it was F3, F4, F6, right?
That's right.
I have these in RGB. Is there a way to get RGB out of Figma? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's really cool. So on the colors, you can just select and change it from hex to RGB there.
Oh, I think I can't, but I think that's because I don't have editing privileges.
Nope, right there. If you look at the colors and then go to the right where it says hex.
Oh,
there we go.
Thanks.
All good.
There we go. Right. And so we can take this and put it into the Tailwind config? Is that what you had in mind?
I was just going to find a default gray that's close to it for now.
Okay.
And maybe use that out of the box, and then we can refine this rather than add another type of gray, which is outside of their standard stuff. So that is 243, 244, 246, right?
It is astounding how this is pretty much gray, but the contrast of the blues against it makes it feel blue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Your eyes do weird color fill tricks like that.
Yeah.
And actually, this is a Tailwind gray. That's awesome. To see that. Yep. So
look who's here.
Hey, what up?
Oh, you're currently
I'm muted.
Hey,
hello.
Hey, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All good here, thank you. We're just doing some Figma and Tailwind here. But I'd love it if I may, if you don't mind the interruption, that you go ahead and introduce yourself to the chat.
Yeah. Hi, I am Distribute-Aid's design lead. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
all good. No stress,
Yeah.
No stress. We're working off of the incredible work that you're doing here. We're so excited to have you on and show us a little bit, talk a little bit about like open source design, as well as guide us a little bit through Figma, and perhaps tell us about some of your techniques. This is super casual, super easygoing, and just like so happy that you've joined us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a joy. Yeah, we were just working on this banner here. What we've done is we've actually, Taylor, would this be a good turning point to have you drive and switch up the navigation?
Yeah, sure thing. If you want to play it like that, that sounds great.
Only if it's no stress.
No, that's perfect. And I think I have the latest because we are sharing the Git pod here. Yep. Let me just get the 1 second to pull up the browser that it provides and get that code page opened. So
awesome. Thank you. Phuong-An, if you don't mind, my first off, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I tried practicing. I'd love to know like what doing this design is like as an experience, how it compares to say more enterprise or closed source design, and what that experience is like for you.
When doing this design, Lexus and I actually was kind of approaching it like, oh, what if we haven't applied this as much yet, just because like there's other like things we need to gather in terms of information. But we were like, oh yeah, what if we approach this the website kind of like a nonprofit website, obviously, but also perhaps kind of like an e-commerce sustainable site, just because it's like, oh, a lot of things need to be explained, but also like just displaying in terms of like all the good things that Distribute-Aid is doing. Just because like Distribute-Aid, I know is trying to be more green and just trying to lower the carbon footprint in terms of the trucks. Yeah. And this timeline, I actually found inspiration from going through Pinterest and then finding someone's, I think it was like it was like, what was it? Like their love story, and then their child's timeline kind of thing. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually kind of cute. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, this could totally apply to Distribute-Aid too, like a truck going through routes in getting to its destination.
I love that. I love that, and I love to. It's really interesting to see where the inspiration comes from, for example, from Pinterest and sort of like from other websites for designed for inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely cool to see the blends of different like personal and commercial and nonprofit, sources of inspiration. That very much makes sense to me because with our logistics and everything else, I mean, we're a nonprofit, but we deal with the commercial industry a lot. And the work is very personal and is designed to help people, ultimately at an individual level once that aid gets distributed. So it's cool to see that kind of consistently throughout our work. Those sorts of things that we see on the physical side are reflected in the approach that technologists take as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. How about you, Taylor? You ready to do some
I'm
driving?
good to drive here. Yeah. So let me
Cool.
get
Let's
my
go ahead and
third.
awesome.
Okay. One sec.
Take your time. I think it's super and I'm so happy that you're here as well, so that we can sort of the three of us. Oh, here we go. Collaborate on how these on colors and also understanding for example understanding the formalities of what goes behind website development. And I think that's super cool. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So what we've got done so far is added a flex box for layout, and that's kind of where we dropped off.
Mhm. We're just
Well-
setting up the page banner component here. So we're trying to keep it flexible and focus on the styling. We're going to hard code the content and use Figma to, pull these elements out and get the colors and everything. And then I think next week we'll focus on working our way backwards to hooking these up more dynamically to Contentful. So that way we can have, the different page specific banners here. But it's very informative, Phuong-An, to have a couple of examples that you've already provided to see how the content might be laid out differently on different pages.
I'd love to ask. Did you also come up with the icon, the dove?
Which one?
The dove image on the right. This one here, is that a dove? I think that's a dove.
Yeah.
That's just Distribute Aid's logo. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I did not come up with that.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks great here. Yeah. Cool. Sorry. So we'll be grabbing that background color and
Mm-hmm.
so we need to find yeah.
Well, we found out it was, well, I had it right here. The default tailwind BG gray 100. And I have a question for you, Phuong-An. I was worried that the tailwind background color, especially for the gray here, as opposed to our standard blue, wouldn't match the background color you used. Did you go in and look at the tailwind background colors to come up with this, or how did you get that gray? Because it matches exactly with what we need on the code side.
Oh, that background color was actually one of the colors that Distribute Aid listed as like, it was like, where was it? I think it was like one of the colors that Distribute Aid already like had as one of the colors from before.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lexus and I just went and looked at the colors of the. Here, let me see if I can find it.
It was on
Because I forget what it was under.
on our Figma or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not logged in here, so I'm not sure if I can go to other.
Yeah, it was like under the design system stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really good point for the audience. developers and designers have different areas of flexibility and different constraints. And it seems to work out really well that we coordinated on what colors would be easily available through Tailwind ahead of time so that Phuong-An and Lexus could use those in the design and we wouldn't have mismatches here.
Excellent.
Okay, so we've made this gray. We have a flex box, and I think that.
Can we see that live already?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just so it should be gray with hello world in it, and it's coming across. Now there's some padding as well, kind of on this background segment, right, Ramón?
That's right. Let's take a look at Figma and see if we can get an idea of what that padding looks like. So for example, this image here, here we go. The text is 78 pixels away from the left side and the top and bottom. Let's have a look at the image, shall we? Could you hover over the image there? So that seems to be, what do you both think? Does this look like would it be like top and bottom equal padding for both of these?
Say so, but I'm going to leave that one up to Phuong-An here.
Yeah, it's like almost there. I think I just centered it with the text, but yeah.
Okay, let's scroll over here and just check this out because I think we'll find something similar where it's giving us all of the different components of the dove. Just maybe want to, there we go. So that seems to be about
also slightly off.
Slightly off. Okay, but
the text is it's basically the text is centered and then the image is slightly off.
Okay.
Cool.
So what we can do here, since we're not going to be able, we want everything centered, right, Ramón? But we're not going to be able to customize the padding for each one of these content elements. That's where Flexbox comes in really handy. So we can set some default padding that we always want available, and then each of the items can automatically be centered vertically, right?
Perfect. That's where we do our vertical centering with Flexbox. Nice. Sounds good.
Cool.
I'm going to look up how to do that while you set that padding.
Totally.
So, tailwind. Where's my tailwind? There it is.
Just want to look up padding here. We have different sizes. So I think that with an REM of 16, that goes quite nicely into 128 for that default padding, and that's going to be 8 REM. So we're looking at P32 to start off with here. And it seemed like the top and bottom had slightly more padding than the left and right as well. So maybe we want to...
Hey there, Ember Code. Nice to see you here. We're doing some tailwind in Figma. Cool. So we're doing a horizontal padding of 24 and a vertical padding of 32.
Oh, that's quite good.
That's big, but I think it's consistent with the other one.
Yep.
That looks great.
Because this is, I'm zoomed out as well. So this is 50%. If I'm zooming to 100%. It's a bit, I'm having a hard time, Phuong-An, with Figma. It doesn't quite seem to map to the web browser sizing, but I think one's right. I think it's just the tooling, because it's a whole tool around the designs rather than say a page here. So
Amber Code asks a question here. Does Tailwind have React components?
Tailwind. They do have Tailwind components, which are set up.
Like Material UI. Interesting. I'm not sure. I haven't done a whole lot of Tailwind myself.
Yeah. So they have this free library of community-generated components, but I think it's really just the CSS utility. And so they want you to go in and build out more of a custom style than Bootstrap or Material UI by creating your own components. And they give you the utilities to set that up.
So you can sort of set up your own set of components.
Exactly. And then it seems like here we have lots of different components. Like here's a buttons one. So people have posted these on the tailwindcomponents.com website. And it'll show you, the different styles.
Oh, show code.
See the code. So here are the different classes.
Oh.
Now, that's pretty messy in terms of CSS, but once you wrap that in a React component and that's your default button and you can customize the, what the button is showing or the icon associated with it, then you kind of extrapolate from there and you don't really need to change the styling and you now have a reusable button component across your site. If you do need to go in and change the styling, it's really easy. You don't have to mess with CSS classes, which might impact other parts of the site, through the cascade or things like that. You would go in and change the Tailwind classes that are applied to that specific element.
That's awesome. Out of curiosity, I mean, I've never actually made stuff in Figma. Phuong-An, do you also like write CSS as you do it, or is it how do you do it? Out of curiosity.
Oh, this is like a drag and drop, and then like it also allows me to center things and distribute items evenly if I would like. So it's not CSS pretty much at all. The CSS is automatically generated from Figma.
Oh, I see. Cool.
Yeah.
But I guess you can tweak it if you like.
Yeah.
But it's great. Yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah. Awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Good. I was wondering that myself as well. It seems to be, Figma is that transition point, right? The tooling that they need to do their bit, and then we can extrapolate the actual styling out, which is so helpful to not have to like use a color picker to figure out what blue that background color is or something.
I actually installed a Windows app for this called Digital, sort of like the digital color meter on Mac OS.
Oh yeah, I actually have something similar in Chrome. Like it will tell me exactly what color it is. There's like one for fonts as well.
Oh wow, what's that called?
Let's see. It is called Font Ninja, I think.
Font Ninja. Oh, awesome. Amber Code here is wondering, are we gonna stream Fonts Ninja? Thank you.
Yes.
I'll post a link to that. Amber Code is wondering, are we gonna stream regularly? We're here every week.
Every week.
So every Thursday at around this time. At this time. So time zones. 17 minus 6, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Cool. Fonts Ninja. I'm curious. I'm gonna post a link to that. Oh, it's on Firefox too. Nice. Or at least people want it on Firefox. Post it here into the chat. These folks are curious. Awesome. So sorry, where were we? We were doing the
I'm just going through and pulling styles out of Figma here. So we have the background color. I bumped the padding down just a little bit and want to see what it looks like with content, and then we can make adjustments, but definitely keeping the top and bottom even and that having a bit more padding than the left and right as specified by the design. And I was thinking about A few things. We need to set up the flexbox so that the components are horizontally centered and not stretched or at the top or the bottom. So that would be one thing to do while we're on this background element. And then I was just looking at some of the styling for, say, the typography. Like,
Oh, look at that. We get everything here.
mm-hmm.
Amber Code, thank you so much for reporting that. It looks like we had a small blip in connection, so we got lost for about 5 seconds or so, but we're back. Thanks for letting us know that we're back.
Cool.
Cool. So we're and I love that that all the typography is immediately there for us to just sort of take and adapt to our needs. We even get a font. Do we need to install that font?
Not 100% sure. That might be. We can check out some of the styling here. So I think there's the tailwind config.
And if you don't mind my asking a million questions, Phuong-An, because I'm always so curious. I'm curious. How'd you pick out that font? Was it Lato? Lato?
Yeah, that's Lato. That's Distributed's font. It was just from the styling and stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that makes it an easy choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, that's fascinating. So I take it there was like a bunch of design choices that were brought in from the previous iteration of the current website, and just sort of like giving it a fresh, metaphorical coat of paint.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm wondering if I can do like a find across the project here in the editor.
You're looking for the font itself?
I'm just trying to see where we're importing. We're importing some other fonts here, so I want to make sure to import the Leto font as well.
Could it be that we define that as a package, perhaps? Do you have the magnifying glass icon on on the left hand banner? Oh, you're already here.
My banner's a little bit.
It's a little bit invisible.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we are importing fonts from
Google Fonts.
From Google Fonts here. So what I might do.
Nice. We're going to be getting that from Google Fonts itself.
Yeah, this is a great front end tool. So if we go Leto here, and there's a couple of different styles. I saw we need both the 400 weight and the 800 weight for the bolding. Phuong-An, are we planning on italicizing things? Should we pull in a couple of different ones here?
Oh yeah, there's so many. Let's see. I don't think I italicized anything, but I guess it doesn't hurt to have it if you want to grab it later or something.
Okay, yeah, I might just update it later. It's pretty straightforward. Now, what I'm not seeing here is a 800 weight font, but we could maybe let the browser take care of that for us rather than having a specific font for it. Or we could go with 700 or 900. Should we see what the browser does? I think
that's
with some
brilliant.
Easier.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like over here on Figma, it's like extra light, thin, light, regular, medium, semi-bold, and we chose extra bold, but I don't know why it's not there if it's available here.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty weird.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's kind of built into.
Let me just see what regular bold looks like. I assume that means it's the 700. Kind of like the extra bold, but let's see. What does black look like? Black looks the same as extra bold. Or, let's see. Slightly different. interesting over here on Figma. The black is after the extra bold, but slightly less bold, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You
That's
can see the
interesting.
difference.
So it's just ever so slightly subtly different in terms of boldness, right?
Yeah.
That is odd.
Should we go with the 900 weight then? Is that the black in Figma? Okay,
Sure.
cool. So we'll grab that as well. And we are going to link this. So I can, I've already got a pre-connect going. Just want to update our fonts here.
Cool. So we can do that to import.
I'm switching tabs to my Sublime text. Here we go. So we'll just go ahead and add that there.
Nice.
Leave a to-do to consolidate.
Yeah. It's because we can have all of the fonts imported in one go. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so what we're doing is so what we're doing now is doing it in 2 goes, but we can do it in 1 go, and then we'll leave ourselves that to do.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Okay, so that means that we just need to add these in the font family here. So I think instead of Railway, we can go for Ditto with a backup of a default sans serif font.
And that sans serif font is sort of we leave it to the browser and by extension the owner's computer to determine what that font will be.
Exactly.
Cool.
Okay, so
Unexpected identifier.
I think I might just need to restart the server here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Since we did make changes to the tailwind config.
That's why. Okay, gotcha.
In the meantime, how do we set a font with so we have font family, here we go. And that's a really easy style. That's just font sans. So we can go ahead and get some of these going while we wait for it to build. So we have the backgrounds, we have the padding, and I'm just going to apply the fonts. What do you think, Ramon? Should we apply them to the paragraph or should we apply them to the wrapper?
I think the paragraph. Do you know why, Taylor? Because we might have font icons, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're gonna have those social icons.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that's gonna work, but maybe it makes font sans. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So unless I'm mistaken, we should already be able to see that. I'm excited.
I just want to do a little bit more magic here. Do the refresh. So we have the font weight. That was font normal, which I believe is the default. So maybe we don't need to add that here. Here's the font family. What's the font size that we're going for here? 32. So let's definitely bump that up. I believe that is 2 REMs. Okay,
doesn't seem to be an in-between.
Yep. What I might do here is go for text 2L to start off with. We lowered that padding a little bit and the line height will still be 2 REMs. Let's take a look at how that looks there.
Good call.
And
you know what I just realized? Forgot to put our nice little banner up. There we go. There we go. That's
There
better.
you go. Oh, look at this. I can even copy the content that Phuong-An's written out.
No way!
Yep, just straight up.
Ah, Figma's amazing.
Fun, right? So paste that in. And what are the basic needs? Oh, go for it.
Sorry, no, I just noticed.
I was muted.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could go and try to select the text also, but it's really nice that it just allows you to select it from there because it is easier to select it from there.
Yeah, totally. It's just like in one go. So I see you're putting some strong elements there. That's going to allow us to have boldness, right?
Exactly. Is that the right way to do it? Is that accessible?
No, it should, or I think either strong or EM for emphasize. Both are good, I believe. I'm not an expert. I will get back to you on that. However,
bold and italics, right?
Pardon?
It's better than using the B tag or the I tag.
Oh yeah,
more semantic.
Yeah, totally. And I think as you said, semantic. The aim here is to have semantic HTML, and the reason we're harping on this is because it's important to make this accessible for, say, a screen reader, so that a screen reader will be able to say, okay, coming up is an emphasized part of the text, so that the effect is still there when we when we access the website through a screen reader.
Exactly. And we just had the font weight on, we're looking at font black here. So we'll need to apply that, I think, to the strong elements, right?
Yes. And since we're doing that inside an existing paragraph with styles, we won't have to write out all of the styles in one go, just the ones we need, just the font black.
Exactly. Cool. Shall we take a look?
I'm so excited. Look at that. Look at that. That's fantastic. Good job. Nice one. This is already looking much more like the Figma design. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the one part missing, immediate part missing, is the color.
Good call.
Of the text color. Because if we take a look on Figma, it's kind of a bluish. I think this is going to be one of those what's it called? Distributed navy blues.
So I'm looking at our tailwind config, and we have the navy. Now that's listed out in hex codes. So I'm just going to go right here, take a look, 22A, BA4. There we go. So that should be navy 600. So
and what's impressive is that Tailwind sort of generates these classes for us based on this config, so that it generates that CSS for us.
Exactly. I just want to make sure I'm using them right. This is all about custom colors. Where's the actual application of these? Oh, here we go. Text.
Nice.
Color. Okay, so I think if we go text navy and it was 600, we should be good to go here.
So if we go back to the page banner and then text navy 600.
There we go.
Amazing. That already looks as good as the real thing. I mean, this is the real thing. You know what I mean?
Well, what's really cool here is for this graphic, it's a bunch of vectors. Let's see if we can select the full thing. Group 17. We should be able to export this as a PNG, right, Phuong-An?
Maybe even an SVG.
Ooh.
V Prevails writes, and I agree so much. Funny how color immediately adds a vibe to stuff. It is so true.
So true. Do you
Nice
know
to
the
see you
difference?
again, V Prevails.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I'm just trying to figure out how to highlight the right thing. So we want to export
yeah,
this.
That was muted, but yeah. There is a export plus, and then there's a SVG option. Yes.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Okay. A little preview right there. That
Oh, that's so cool.
Mhm.
SVG never ceases to amaze me.
Exactly. So I'll save it, and I'll have to open this up locally, and then I can just copy that into our editor.
Actually, I've never uploaded a file to Gitpod. How does that work?
I do not know.
Is it possible?
Is it?
Let's have a look.
Okay.
New
You
folder.
take a look at that. I'm gonna get this one up here in the meantime. But that would be. Actually,
I think this is going to be a.
Oh no, I can't see the icons on Gitpod, so I'm not sure how to close the search.
Oh, tell you what. Shall I tag you out?
Maybe, or I can just refresh the Gitpod real quick. It might have been like a
Sounds good.
loading thing. Yeah.
Gitpod any good? Amber Code asks Gitpod any good? We're liking it a lot. It's allowed us. So I created this Gitpod, but Taylor here is the one running it at the moment with icons back, which is good. And maybe you can drag and drop it in there. It's been really helpful actually. Like and it allows us to also like set up a locally run, like this is a container running on the cloud with VS Code, all that magic, no setup required from our end. It's really nice, and it's yeah, it's been really helpful.
Super cool. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do for this SVG, we could set up another component, but I want to be careful with the time here. So I might go ahead and make a local. I can just make a local function and call it, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do want to be respectful of your time. I realize we're coming up at the 7 o'clock. At the end of our hour in 5 minutes.
I'm having fun.
No, me too, but I'm afraid I do have a hard stop at 7 as always.
Yeah.
I gotta clean up my schedule.
So we have world map, and we'll just return the SVG component here.
Oh, nice. So we just like, oh, cool. Yeah, makes sense.
There we go. And Figma's taken everything there for us, which is great. And so I think in here, if we do brackets and just call world map real quick.
Wow.
That might get it going. Let's take a look.
Fingers crossed. Look at
there
that.
We go. Look
Brilliant.
At that. Yep. So
Brilliant.
I'm wondering here, looking at the inspected, there seems to be a bit of extra padding built in here with the width and height probably of the SVG. So we might be able to tweak that, make it auto, maybe.
How does that work?
Yep, that seems to have removed the extra padding. And so now it should be, we can manage it with Flexbox, right?
Yeah.
So we can use the Flexbox here instead of having to do that manually.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So just repeat those changes here. And we might need to apply some Flexbox controls. I might wrap this in a div, don't you think?
So with Flexbox, what we're meant to do is we've got a P and an SVG next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't actually think we need an extra div for this?
Yeah, I guess we could apply it straight to the SVG. What I'm thinking here is trying to shrink the SVG down so that it ends up being 1/3 of the text, right? Because it's quite large right here.
I think what we can do for
half and half.
I think what we can do for that is use flex. What's it called? Flex grow.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Oh no, not flex grow. Sorry, I think flex 1, flex 2, flex 3 to determine like how much. See where it says flex 1 at the top to allow an item to grow and shrink as needed, ignoring its initial.
Right on. Yeah, so they might be. Okay, let's try that. So let's give it like a. This one can get class name flex-1, and then we'd make the P
flex-2 or flex-3.
Mm-hmm.
No, flex-2 because that's why it's 2/3.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's
quite
not what I had in. Let me have a look. I think we'll need the Flexbox guide.
I'm used to doing it directly in CSS, so I think it's finding the right tailwind magic here.
Yeah. How would you do it? Flex basis? No.
Flex basis, that'd be probably how small it can go, or what the default size is here.
Mm-hmm. Flex grow. Okay, you can set flex grow numbers. I think this is what I had in mind. But I'm afraid we are out of time, folks. I'm very sorry. I will have to start making commits here, and then we can carry on either later on or during next week.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I just added a little div right here as a marker for where our social icons will go. So next week we can focus on getting the social icons in, getting the relationship between these elements right. And then that's the first pass there. We'll be able to run a CodeC maps and CodeC recording to see all of those changes be applied. And then we can hook it up to Contentful to get that dynamic content going as well.
Brilliant. Thank you both so much for coming on. It's been such a joy as usual. I'll go ahead and make the commit for this after we wrap up, but I just want to say thank you. Phuong-An, thank you so much for giving us these insights. It's been really fascinating and always a joy to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Super fun to play around with Figma, especially to understand it from your perspective as a designer.
Super cool. Well, until next time, folks in the chat, thank you so much for joining and see you next time. Have a good one.
Everyone.